Holiday World and Splash and Safari, our family loves you. But look, I'm trying to teach my kids there's nothing free in life. And then we get here and there's a lot that's free. Parking, sunscreen, soft drinks. We love water coasters like Mammoth, the new family coaster Good Gravy, and 500 drones lighting up the sky. But the whole ride home, all I hear is... free soft drinks, free parking, free sunscreen. Okay, I guess some things in life are free.
Get tickets today at holidayworld.com.
Okay, let's go. Top row.
EYECARE
Good. Next row.
AM
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for...
It's the Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy's Sports Ticket, 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
What's going on? It's the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy's Sports Ticket. And I am having a ball. Just so glad to be back at work. So glad that the new college football game's out. I may or may not have played for six hours yesterday. It's not a joke. The game came out at 4. I got on the game right at 4. Stopped and ate dinner with my wife. Played till like 9. Prepped for today's show and then played an extra hour. So Yeah, played way too much yesterday, but that's okay because I still got in all the viewing that I needed to do. Okay. And it was great. So yesterday, the United States men's Olympic basketball team played against Australia, and they barely won. Okay. Now, they had a pretty sizable lead. They were up by over 20 at one point, and the lead very quickly kind of slipped away in the third and fourth quarter. And I told everyone before I left for vacation about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I told everyone that the USA men's Olympic basketball team was not going to just cruise to the gold medal this year. Okay? They didn't even medal at FIBA last year. Now, very different team, to be fair, but still. And Australia yesterday gave them a pretty decent run for their money. Okay? And I said 2 weeks ago that this was going to be a tough year for Team USA in Olympic basketball because there are just so many good players. This is the most talented Olympic field we've ever had in basketball. And look, Australia has been good for the past decade. Okay, they have several players that play in the NBA, and it's great and it's fun. But here's the thing. Australia is not even one of the better teams. Like Canada is better than Australia. France is better than Australia. Okay, it's like they're not even the toughest competition that Team USA is going to face. And they almost came back from a 20-point deficit yesterday to beat Team USA. Now, on paper, this, Team USA looks awesome. They do. But let's be honest. They're kind of old. Kevin Durant's 36. LeBron's 39. Steph Curry is 35. Okay? Devin Booker's been in the league for over a decade now. They've got some older players on this team, and they played a good, young, fast-paced Australia team yesterday that almost beat them. And I think this was perfect. I think that this is something that Team USA needed. If you remember the 1992 Dream Team, they lost a scrimmage against a bunch of college kids, and it was something that they needed. This was a good warning for Team USA. They needed for someone to buzz the tower a little bit and remind them that basketball is a 1,000% a global game now, because it is. There are great players all over the world. Okay, there's a reason that an American player hasn't won the MVP award since James Harden won it in 2018. There's a lot of talent out there, and Team USA was reminded of that yesterday. They needed it. I think that's going to help them heading into the Olympics. And they were going to lose yesterday until our Indiana Pacer, Tyrese Haliburton, was inserted into the game late in the fourth quarter. At the 5:06 mark, Australia cut the USA's lead down to 6. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, here we go. They're going to lose. This is here it comes. Australia, they're about to get over the hump. Here it is. And for about a minute and a half, neither team scores. Then, with about 3.5 minutes to go, Tyrese Haliburton hit a 3 in the left corner. Team USA up by 9. Australia comes back. Great defense from Team USA. They come back down the floor. They hit Tyrese Haliburton, left corner again. Bang, another 3. Back-to-back threes from Tyrese Haliburton to push the lead from 6 up to 12. Okay, those were the only 6 points that Tyrese Haliburton scored all game. To be fair, he only played 18 of the available 40 minutes. It's early, okay? Team USA still trying to figure out their rotations. But Haliburton being on the court for Team USA needs to happen more. It does. He makes their offense so much easier, and I can't really figure out why. I've got some theories as to why Haliburton makes offense easier, but it's not like, Jokic, right, where I can sit down on a couch and I can watch, but okay, he just knows where to throw the ball based on where the double team comes from, right? And so it's like a really easy thing for me to see. It's the same thing with Luka, right, where it's like, okay, they just know where to go when they get doubled, and if you don't double them, then they're going to score. Haliburton's not like that. He doesn't see a lot of double teams. And my theory is that it's just that he's just a real point guard. I don't know what it is. He just grew up looking to find other guys and to get other players involved, and that has helped him. And when I watch the NBA, and more specifically when I watch this Team USA team, there are a lot of players that can pass the ball at a high level. It feels, though, a lot of times as if these NBA players, both in the league and on the Olympic team, are looking to score. And then when they can't score, they then see a pass and they make the pass to the open teammate, right? And that just isn't really how Tyrese Haliburton operates. Like Haliburton does things purposefully to get his teammates a bucket. And this is something that the best players in the world do. Nikola Jokic does this. LeBron James does this. And of course, Tyrese Haliburton does it. When he is on the floor with Team USA, I think that's why he helps their offense so much. Because when you look at the roster, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Steph Curry, so on and so forth, like all of his teammates are looking for their shot. And if they see an open teammate, they will make the pass. Tyrese Haliburton does the total opposite of that. He's looking to get his teammates a shot. And if he's open, then he will shoot. Right? It is a very selfless mindset. It is a very, team first, team oriented thing. It's a large part of why the Pacers were so good this year. He kind of led by example in this. We're going to share the ball. The ball's going to pop around and, everyone is going to get a touch. He kind of led that way for the Pacers this year. And you can see this selfless mindset paying off for him and Team USA in these two games. Now, look, it's 2 games. It's not a huge sample size. But this selfless mindset that Tyrese Haliburton has got him to lead the NBA in assists this year. And it's also what got the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals. And look, when he's the best player on your team, because he is the best player for the Indiana Pacers, when he's the best player on your team, this selfless mindset can be frustrating. It is frustrating. Okay? Like I know you guys remember there were multiple playoff games where Pacers fans and me, we were sitting around clamoring for him to be more aggressive. Like, hey, Haliburton, can you take more than 8 shots maybe? You played 40 minutes. Maybe take more than 8 shots. I know you remember those games, and I know that I certainly do as well. But here's the thing. When he's not the best player, it's perfect. Okay, like Haliburton doesn't have to shoot the ball a ton for Team USA to be successful. Unlike the Pacers, like the Pacers need him to go one-on-one and to take, 8 threes in a game and 7 free throws and all those things. Like that's what the Pacers need. And that's why people were asking him to be more aggressive in those playoff games. But with Team USA, when you got LeBron James and Steph Curry and Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards and Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid and all these dudes that can really score, he doesn't have to shoot the ball. He doesn't have to. Right? Team USA has plenty of scores. And in fact, what they need more of are players like Tyrese Haliburton. They need players on the floor like Haliburton that can provide some playmaking. Right? They need guys on the floor that are looking to get other guys shots. And because Haliburton is that, when he's on the floor, he elevates the team. Okay, and when he's been on the floor against both Canada and yesterday against Australia, it was obvious to see that the offense just flowed so much better with him on the floor. Because there's this trust of, if I give Haliburton the ball, I'm probably going to get it back. Which is, look, as a scorer, that's what you want, right? And I think something that makes him all the more valuable is that Tyrese Haliburton doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. When he played in Sacramento, the team that drafted him, he spent most of his time playing off the ball, which is fine because he's a 40% catch and shoot 3 guy, right? Playing alongside De'Aaron Fox. And so because of that, he doesn't have to have the ball to make an impact due to his ability to shoot the basketball. That's one of my favorite things about him. I think that's why the Pascal Siakam stuff works so well. Like, he can kind of give him the ball, and Tyrese Haliburton knows how to operate without the basketball in his hands. He cuts well, and he makes good passes off of cuts. He had one yesterday where he cut baseline, and someone threw it to him, and he caught it, and he threw this little touch pass to Anthony Davis for a dunk. It was beautiful. It was great basketball, right? And so he's capable of playing off the ball which is big for Team USA because it's filled with players that want to have the ball and, more importantly, expect to have the ball. I think, if you haven't heard, there's a clip out there where Anthony Edwards is like, I'm the number one option. And I'm sure that's how every guy on that team feels. And they should feel that way, right? Like, these are some of the best basketball players in the world, right? Like, there are so many professional scorers on this team that they're all looking to catch the ball and go get a bucket, which is fine, right? And some of them probably need to do that, right? But with Haliburton, he doesn't need to do that. Okay? He just wants to get his teammates involved and he wants to win. He's active defensively, even if he's not a good defender, which I know sounds a little weird, but like, he's in the passing lanes. He gets deflections, gets steals, and does all of those things. But when it comes to But when it comes to Team USA, Haliburton really has an opportunity to slide in and fill this role of facilitator, which is what he wants to do anyway. Staying with basketball, the Indiana Fever, they continue their season tomorrow night against the Dallas Wings, going on the road. And then after that, their schedule gets tough again, right? The Fever are coming off this tough 5-game stretch where they played against some of the best teams in the WNBA, the Aces, the Liberty, right? Like, some of the better teams in the league, the Lynx, right? They played against some of the better teams in the WNBA, and they went 3-2 over this tough 5-game stretch. Could have been 4-1 if they hadn't lost to the freaking Washington Mystics, who suck, just to be quite frank. And so they're getting a bit of a break. They're playing against the 5-19 Dallas Wings. Hopefully Clark, Boston, and Mitchell can continue to play well. They've all played great during that 5-game stretch. It's a large part of why they went 3-2. The defense was better as well. Shout out to Christy Side. She has done a great job of getting this young team to commit to playing defense, right? Because that's how you win games, especially games on the road against good teams. Like, you have to find a way to get stops, and they've done that. And now they get, a short break in terms of the level of competition that they're playing on the road tomorrow night against the 5-19 Dallas Wings. That game is going to be on ESPN at 7:30, so you can watch it. That's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow night. Then, after that, they just go right back to playing a bunch of tough games. Okay, 4 out of their next 5 games after that come against the better teams in the WNBA, right? So, like, they need to win tomorrow night. Like, I'm sitting back and I'm watching this team play, and I'm watching the standings, and I'm like, they could legitimately get to 500. Like, they're 11-14 right now. They win tomorrow night, that puts them at 12-14. And then if they can go 3-2 over the 5-game stretch, they'll be 500, I believe, if my math is correct. So they need to win tomorrow night. I think it's imperative for teams like the Fever, who are kind of sitting at the bottom. It's imperative for them to win the gimmies. One of the most frustrating things about watching the Pacers this last year was knowing how good they were and then watching them lose to, like, the Charlotte Hornets or the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, good teams don't allow the worst teams in the league to beat them. Okay, like the Las Vegas Aces don't lose to the Washington Mystic like the Indiana Fever did just this last week. Good teams don't lose games like that. They don't. Okay, and let's be honest, if Caitlin Clark shows up and Aaliyah Boston shows up and Kelsey Mitchell shows up and they all play halfway decent, they should beat Dallas Wings, who might be the worst team in the WNBA. And I expect for all of them to play well, especially for Caitlin Clark, because she has really turned a corner to a point where she should be on the Olympic team. I know what you're saying, Jonathan. The Olympic team has already been chosen. Yes, but Diana Taurasi has been banged up. She's missed some of her previous games. She didn't play against the Fever last week. If Diana Taurasi cannot play on the Olympic team, Caitlin Clark should undoubtedly be the player that replaces her. I'm going to get into that when we come back here in about 4 minutes.
Often imitated, never duplicated. It's the real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Tickets, 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
What's going on? The real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Tickets. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday. I know I am. All right, Caitlin Clark she's really turned a corner here recently with the playmaking, now leading the WNBA in assists. The Indiana Fever are set to continue their season tomorrow night when they go on the road to take on the 5-19 Dallas Wings. That should be a win, but then again, they should have beaten the Washington Mystic last week, and that didn't happen. So you never know. And I'm expecting Caitlin Clark to play well because she has once again turned another corner. She has gotten better throughout the year, and that's plain for everyone to see. If you deny the idea that Caitlin Clark has improved over the course of this season, then you're just a hater. There's no other way. There's no other way to say it. Okay, like it's to a point where I think everyone knows that Caitlin Clark should have been selected to play on the Olympic team. At least I hope that everyone knows that, especially the decision makers amongst especially amongst the people that pick the players for the women's Olympic team, because Diana Taurasi is injured currently. Okay, like she has a back and a leg thing that have caused her to miss some games. She didn't play against the Indiana Fever because of a lower leg injury. She did return, though, in the Phoenix Mercury's most recent game against the Connecticut Sun. But here's the thing. She didn't play her normal amount of minutes against the Sun. And more importantly, she didn't play well. She only scored 6 points. She's bad. Really no other way to put it. If she can't play in the Olympics, then Caitlin Clark better be her replacement. Otherwise, we're going to have another large group of people outraged about the women's Olympic team. I'm sure you guys remember when it was originally announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't be on the team. People were upset. People chose sides. Some people were angry and frustrated. So, yeah, I hope that they pick her just for their sake, right? Here's the other thing. She's gotten better. Like, she deserves to be on the team. Okay, we live in a society, in a country where people are wrong all the time. Okay, I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife, Amelia. She will tell you. Okay, I'm wrong all the time. It happens. Men out there, if you think you're right all the time, just ask your wife. She will tell you that you are not right all the time. And there's nothing bad about being wrong. Like, even smart people, people that go to like Harvard or Yale or wherever, even those people are wrong. Elon Musk makes bad decisions sometimes, and he's a pretty smart business guy in and of himself, right? So, like, it's not a big deal if you're wrong, because you're going to be wrong. That's just kind of the way that life works. People are wrong about all sorts of different things every single day. And it's not a big deal. It happens. Sometimes you get things wrong. What is a big deal, however, is when you're wrong and unwilling to admit it, or when you're wrong and you're unwilling to change your ways. That is when the issues start to develop. That is when you start to see the issues. Don't be stubborn. Stubborn people are some of the worst people to hang out with. They are. Stubborn people are some of the worst people to talk to. And more importantly, stubborn people also tend to make bad decisions because they refuse to change their ways and they refuse to admit when they're wrong. And I hope that whoever picks the players for the USA Women's Olympic team isn't stubborn, because if she is or he is, then they'll be making a major mistake. All of the arguments for Caitlin Clark to be on the Olympic team previously had to do with how big of a star she is. Okay, the argument for Caitlin Clark to be on the women's Olympic team originally was rooted in this idea that if you take Caitlin Clark with you to Paris, you let her play 15 to 20 minutes a game, then more people will want to watch, which will grow the game. It was very much this marketing pitch of, if you take Caitlin Clark with you, more people will watch your league. Something that the WNBA has wanted for quite some time now. And that argument still rings true. If anything, that argument has more momentum now that Caitlin Clark has actually started to play at a higher level. Okay, so like that argument is still 1,000% rock solid. If the women's Olympic team was to take Caitlin Clark with them, people would be so much more invested. So many more people would watch. Because let's be honest, as of right now, nobody's watching those games because they're going to be blowouts. Okay, like the USA women's Olympic team is going to blow out everybody that they play in basketball. They just are. And so no one's going to watch because of that. The games aren't going to be good, and there's nobody there that people are exactly dying to see. Meanwhile, they bring Caitlin Clark. People will watch just because she's in the game. The counter argument to that was pretty simple. It was just like, look, she's not good enough to be on the women's Olympic team, right? Like there are women who have worked hard throughout their entire careers for this opportunity. We can't, give someone else's spot away just for some marketing thing, even though it happens all the time. Okay. Like people get screwed out of things all the time. Just look at Bronny James. Someone is going to get screwed out of an NBA roster spot because Bronny James is the son of LeBron James. Okay. Like that's just kind of the way that things work. Is it fair? No, but life's not fair. Anyway, I digress. Back to the original counter argument. At the moment in time, the idea that Caitlin Clark was not good enough to play on the women's Olympic team was correct. Okay, like there was no counter to it. Okay, there was no, you know what? Oh, but she's really good at this. No, because Caitlin Clark got off to a bad start when it comes to her WNBA career. Okay, she was bad out of the gate. It took her some time to adjust to the physicality and all these different things. And I don't think it's ridiculous to say that Caitlin Clark was not one of the best players in the WNBA to start this season. Okay? That would be correct. If you had looked at me, after game 3 and been like, hey, Caitlin Clark is not one of the best players in the league, I would have said, hey, you are correct. Because she wasn't. She struggled out of the gate. But as of today, she is one of the best players in the WNBA. She is 14th in points per game, 19th in rebounds per game as a point guard, of 9th in steals per game. So that defense that people were questioning has gotten better. It's not great, but it's gotten better. She's 14th in blocks per game as a guard. And she leads the WNBA in assists per game. She is the best playmaker/passer in the WNBA. I don't know about you, but that sounds an awful lot like one of the best players in the league to me. So that argument no longer stands. If Diana Taurasi is hurt and cannot play in the Olympics, then Caitlin Clark should undoubtedly be her replacement. Everyone has seen it now. Everyone has seen how good of a player she is. Everyone has seen that she can indeed play at this professional level of WNBA basketball, which isn't surprising in the slightest if you just watched her play in college. It's almost like the ability to dribble, pass, and shoot translates to every level. Okay, and on top of that, you have this marketing argument as well of her being not just the biggest thing in women's basketball right now, not her being the biggest star in just general basketball right now, but her being the biggest star in sports right now. She is. We talk about her more than anybody else, right? And more importantly, for all you people out there who said that she shouldn't have made the team, she's one of the best players in the WNBA. And because of that, she deserves, based on her play, not based on, who she is as, like a marketing tool, but based on her play and her play alone, she deserves to be on the team. If, of course, Diana Taurasi is hurt and cannot go to Paris. She deserves to be on the team based on her reputation and based on how good of a player she is, because I think it is absolutely evident. Okay, like you cannot deny that Caitlin Clark is one of the best players in the WNBA. Okay, and you also can't deny that the Jarris Walker has gotten better, and we're going to get to see him play a little bit more today. The Pacers Summer League team plays again today against the Phoenix Suns at 4 o'clock. Cannot wait. Should be an absolute blast to watch that game. I'm I've got the best living room setup ever. I live in a tiny apartment with a great wife who is just the sweetest. So I've got my big TV set up, and then I've got a smaller TV set up that I play like video games on, and it's an absolute blast. So today at 4:00, I will be in my comfy's chair playing the new college football game while I watch the Pacers summer league team play at 4:00. And I've really enjoyed watching this summer league team play. Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd are both playing, which is great for both of them. I just like watching both of them play. I think they play the right way, which is such like a cliche thing. So let me explain what I mean. They bring it defensively. They are engaged on the defensive end of the floor. Active hands, moving their feet, always down in a stance, always looking to guard, always taking on the challenge. It's fun to watch, right? And offensively, they find ways to impact the offense in their own special ways. They just play to their strengths. Okay, like they know who they are, which is really important no matter what you do for a living. Like I know who I am as a radio host. I know that I'm not Dan Dockich and I can't yell for 3 hours. That's not who I am, which is cool. It's fine. Right? So like you have to know who you are. And Ben Shepherd and Jarris Walker both know that. And in the summer league setting, though, they get to kind of experiment a little bit outside of that, which is fun. Right? They both bring it on the defensive end of the floor. They find ways to impact the offense. Ben Shepherd obviously does that through moving, setting screens, catch and shoot, attacking closeouts, doing those types of things. And then Jarris Walker does it through playmaking, breaking down the defense off the dribble, right? Working, setting screens and rolling, making plays out of that, and scoring. Okay, like the dude can score, right? That's evident. You don't go number 8 overall in the draft unless you can score the basketball at least a little bit. So what I want to continue to see from Jarris Walker is his ability to play defense at a high level. Okay, the offense is clearly there. Okay, like he's got good feel. He seems to make the right reads and he makes the right passes. Sometimes he gets sped up and he turns the ball over, but you can tell that there's a decent offensive base there. Okay, like he sees the floor, takes mostly good shots. The way for him though to get on the floor with the Pacers is to defend and to make open shots. That's what the Pacers are looking for. They need a big wing that can play defense. That is the number one thing that they've been looking for. And hopefully, Jarris Walker is that guy. And so far, only through 2 games. Okay, it's like I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself because I really like Jarris Walker and I like the way that he plays and I like the size and I like the length. And there's a lot of things that I like. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself here. He's only played 2 games, but he looks like he can be that for the Pacers next year. And I want to continue to see that through the rest of the summer league games. Okay, like in part because I need something to talk about until Colts training camp gets fired up, which is not far away. Rookies are reporting for training camp today, which is fun, except for Caleb Williams. He hasn't signed his rookie contract yet, so he is not in camp with the Bears, which is interesting. Right, this is just another stone for people that don't like Caleb Williams to be able to throw, which is I'm just whatever. I don't know enough about the story to really talk about it, but Pacers summer league team today at 4. Can't wait to watch Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, Johnny Furphy. Excited to watch him continue to play as well. Big, tall, long, and can shoot it. Isn't that what everyone's looking for? So Pacers summer league team, they play at 4:00 today. Me, meanwhile, my wife is out of town. She's got some like teacher retreat thing. I didn't fully understand it, but she's gonna have a good time. She'll be back tomorrow. And so today I'm gonna play a lot of the new college football game. And as I was sitting down last night, I'm playing the game and I'm like, you know what? Like I have to figure out some way to incorporate this into Top 10 Tuesday. So I have decided for my Top 10 Tuesday today that I'm going to do the most unstoppable sports video game characters of all time. It's a blast. I had so much fun putting this list together, texting different people, getting opinions like, hey, like, am I missing anybody? I probably am because there are a lot of sports video games that have come out, but I think I've got the right ones on the list. That's coming your way here in about 4 minutes.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket, 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
What's going on? The Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy's Sports Ticket. Hope you're having a great day. I know I am. Just doing all the things. If you went to the Dan's golf outing yesterday, I hope you had a great time. It's a great cause. If you missed it this year, make sure that you sign up and you go next year, because from my understanding, it's always a blast. I was sadly unable to attend. I had to do a show yesterday. So, that's just kind of the way that it goes sometimes. So other things that happened yesterday, though, besides Dan's golf outing, is I finally got my hands on the new college football video game. First one in 11 years. It's been over a decade since we've gotten one of these things, and people are excited about it. I saw a thing yesterday that there were over 600,000 people playing online, and this was just the early released version. And that's just people playing online. That's not even people like me playing offline, grinding in the practice mode for 2 hours like I did yesterday. That's right. I run a strict program. I do. So with that being said, I had to do a Top 10 Tuesday to discuss video games, because video games are awesome. I love them. Okay. I do. I used to play all the time, and then they quit making college football games. And so I kind of cooled off a bit, but now that they're back, my wife is realizing that how much I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. Okay. Once again, I played way too much yesterday. My wife, I think she's listening. I am sorry. Played 5 hours, which is way too much. And I will probably do it again today. I don't know. I don't learn from my mistakes. Anyway, Top 10 Tuesday, though. I wanted to do the most unstoppable sports video game characters of all time. And there's two people three people that undoubtedly have to be on this list. Your list is invalid if it does not include these three people. Number one, Bo Jackson from Tecmo's Super Bowl. Untouchable. Unbeatable. He was an absolute juggernaut. He was. And this video game character has reached pretty incredible status. Even someone like me who never really played the game, but I just remember having conversations with my dad about it. He'd be like, yeah, man, it just didn't really matter what you did. There's a minute number of other video game athletes that dominated their games like this Bo Jackson did in Tecmo Super Bowl. Okay, he could literally run in circles around defenders. Okay, he could turn a 100-yard run into a 400-yard run and just run over whoever got in his way. Okay, and as much as you loved playing with him and despised playing against him, the days of Bo Jackson video game characters have kind of come to a close, right? Madden does these throwback players sometimes, and they're the games, but this, there's still evidence of this. You can find videos of him, and I almost got sucked into a wormhole of watching Bo Jackson Tecmo Super Bowl highlights last night. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm just geez. Playing with him would have been awesome. Playing against him, I'd have been really upset. No way around it. Multiple controllers would have been broken. Might have even cracked a TV screen way back in the day. Not anymore. I'm much better at controlling my anger. I don't remember my older brother and I, we used to fight all the time whenever we play video games against each other, and not just yell at each other. I mean, legitimately throw hands. We would punch each other, because we were just, competitive and stupid and all those things. But anyway, moving on. Mike Tyson also has to be on your list of the most unstoppable sports video game characters of all time. Okay. Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You couldn't beat him. Okay. You would do all that work. You beat all these guys and then finally get to Mike Tyson. And there were just I don't know anybody that beat him. Okay. And this is like I said, I like video games. I like asking people that have played games like this what it was like. And yeah, you couldn't beat him. I've never asked anybody, hey man, did you beat Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? And their response be yes. Okay. And and let's be honest, when you were growing up, if someone said that they did beat Mike Tyson, you didn't believe them. You didn't believe him. You're there's no way. You didn't do that. Ain't no way. Right? There was probably one kid in your neighborhood who claims to have beaten Tyson. You're nah, no way. That's a bunch of baloney. No shot. Okay. And then third guy on the list has to be on your list. Absolutely has to. Michael Vick, Madden 2004. Okay, like the dude was just a scrambling menace. This is one of the first video games I remember playing. Okay, this game came out when I was 4 years old. Right? Like you could drop back and it didn't matter. You were going to scramble your way to a touchdown. I mean, he was incredibly tough to tackle and to stop. And then if you didn't want to just run all over the field, you could just throw like an 80-yard bomb because he was incredible. He was. And, Madden 04, Michael Vick was awesome. He was great. And 07 as well. Like anything was possible with him. Okay, Michael Vick's Madden character has reached this legendary status. Okay, and look, he didn't finish his career with a ring. He got into some trouble and all those things, but we still have that Madden 04 character. Okay, I mean, he was incredible. I remember playing the game, and you would select the Falcons, and people would be like, "Nah, bro, you can't do that. It's not fair. You are not allowed to play with Michael Vick." I'm sure many other people had that argument because he was so incredibly overpowered. Next on my list, this is where I get pretty lenient. Whoever your other 7 guys are, I'll just kind of be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Lawrence Taylor from Tecmo Bowl. Now, as I finished up this list and I was going through it, everybody on here is an offensive player except for Lawrence Taylor. Okay, and let's just be honest. Defenders never steal the spotlight in video games. Like no one bought the new college football game yesterday and was like, I can't wait to play defense. No, everyone was like, I can't wait to play quarterback and throw the ball all over the yard. Okay, no one sat back and was like, man, I can't wait to play with that safety from Indiana. No, nobody said that. Okay, they didn't. Right, but here's the thing: like great video game linebackers and linemen and all those guys, like they're important, right, to winning games and things, whenever you're playing your game. But like they don't create highlight reels, and that's why Lawrence Taylor's Tecmo Bowl character is so special. Okay, he caused chaos and wreaked havoc on offenses. Okay, like he was, like in that game, he was really the only guy who could tackle Walter Payton or Bo Jackson, right? Just flew all over the field, sideline to sideline, chase people down, a lot like how he played in real life. Like he was just an absolute beast in real life and also in Tecmo Bowl. Next on my list, Randy Moss from NFL 2K3. That's right. The 2K company used to make football games, right? And it's kind of tough to distinguish who was more dominant, real life Randy Moss or NFL 2K Randy Moss. Okay, like both were locks to reel in any sort of deep pass, right? But video game Randy Moss was capable of like catching 6 per game. he was, like he was also the cover athlete on the game. And look, when you're the cover athlete, they just kind of tend to boost your stats a little bit, which, is fine with me. I don't mind that at all. Next on my list, Scottie Pippen, NBA Jam. Okay, this is when Michael Jordan was playing baseball. All right, so in 1993, NBA Jam comes out, and this is during the year that Scottie Pippen, leads the Bulls like 54 wins, if I remember correctly. And so, because of that, more shots, more numbers, all those things, and so, he was a good player. He was, he needed Michael Jordan to win a title in real life, but he didn't need him in NBA Jam. I mean, he was tough. And to be one more thing here, NBA Jam might be the best basketball game ever. Love NBA Jam. I've bought like the remastered versions. Used to play all the time. It was an absolute blast. Okay. And yeah, that 1993 version, Scottie Pippen was virtually unstoppable. Next, Peyton Manning in literally any Madden game. Any one of them. Okay, like the dude was just, it was so frustrating. I hated playing against Peyton Manning because he was so consistent. Like you knew what he was going to be in every single Madden game. You did. Okay, he wasn't going to be fast. Okay, he was just going to kind of hang out in the pocket, and he was just going to throw darts to Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison repeatedly. Okay, like, it didn't matter what defense you ran. Peyton Manning in those games just always found a way to hit open wide receivers. He just did. And it was impressive. And it was frustrating because my brother was a huge Colts fan. And I, a Dolphins fan, would run out there with like Dante Culpepper as my quarterback. And he'd run out there with Peyton Manning. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, whatever. I think I see how this game's going to go. Next on my list, Adrian Peterson from NCAA Football 2007. Just an absolute monster. Really no other words for it. Like the modern day Bo Jackson from Tecmo Super Bowl. That's kind of what I would say Adrian Peterson was back in 2007. So he makes the list. Two more. I've got a couple baseball guys here. It's been a lot of football and basketball guys. So Ricky Henderson, RBI baseball four. Speed kills in really any game. Okay, it does. Okay, like if you have a guy that can run, it helps. It just does. And in RBI baseball 4, Ricky Henderson had speed and power and amazing contact skills, pretty much what he had in real life. So if Ricky put the ball in play, he was probably going to reach base. And once he was on base, he was probably going to steal second. And once he was on second, he was probably going to steal third. So, and then, he could also send the ball over the fence as well. Once again, like I said, it's like real life Ricky Henderson. He was just incredible. Next on the list, Reggie Jackson of the original RBI baseball. This game came out later in his career, but look, he spent the majority of his real life career just hitting bombs in all sorts of different parks across the country. And then that power followed him into RBI baseball. Mr. October, great nickname, by the way. He, like I said, he was kind of in the twilight of his career when the game came out, but didn't matter. Okay. Like they were like, nah, we're going to give you prime Reggie Jackson. And you could just hit nothing but homers repeatedly. It was just, he was a pain in the butt to play against. He just was. So that is my list of the top 10 most unstoppable video game characters ever. One more time for you. Bo Jackson from Tecmo Super Bowl, Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Michael Vick in Madden 04, Lawrence Taylor in Tecmo Bowl, Randy Moss, NFL 2K3, Scottie Pippen from NBA Jam, the one that came out in 1993, Peyton Manning in literally any Madden game, Adrian Peterson in NCAA Football 2007, Ricky Henderson, RBI Baseball 4, and Reggie Jackson in RBI Baseball. That is the list. Speaking of lists, I mentioned this yesterday that ESPN, they sent out a survey to all these different executives, coaches, and scouts, and they basically have them rank all these different positions, and then they get the surveys back, and then they kind of average everything out, and then they give you the top 10 lists voted on by NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. And so they did quarterbacks yesterday, and the result was really interesting. I think that's the nice way to say it. Also, the home run derby happened last night. If you were unaware, I don't know why they had it on a Monday night. It's incredibly dumb to me. Okay, I was about to transition into this NFL executives, coaches, and scouts quarterback rankings, but no. Let me talk about baseball here for a second. Why is it on a Monday night? Also, I didn't even know that it happened. I'm watching, Get Up this morning or whatever while I'm sitting in here, tying bows on all my prep. And I'm like, oh, Teoscar Hernandez beat Bobby Witt Jr. to win the home run derby. Like, why? Why is Major League Baseball so terrible at marketing stuff? Seriously. Like, the home run derby is the dunk contest of Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend. It is. Okay, like it's the thing that people actually want to watch. Because let's be honest, if you watch the All-Star game today or tonight, it's on at 8:00. The final score is going to be like 2-1, and that's going to be it because the pitching is so dominant now. Okay, it just is, and so people want to tune in and watch the home run derby, and it's been great over these past several years. It has been. Okay, like with the timer, there's this new sense of urgency. They implemented a new rule this year on how, like you can only see 40 pitches, and like they're adding all these things, and it's interesting and it's fun and it's exciting. It is. And You don't market it. Like, look, ESPN is on at my house all the time. All the time. And I didn't see any sort of advertising for this. Now, maybe that's because I was on vacation last week and I kept my TV and my phone off for the most part when I was in DC. But come on now. Like you've got to find some sort of way like to get the word out to people, because if I had known about it, it would have been appointment TV for me. I would have turned it on undoubtedly. And I feel like there are a lot of people out there, because what's the coolest part of going to a baseball game? Watching guys hit home runs. It is. Okay, home runs and strikeouts. Like, those are the sexy things that get people to a TV screen to watch baseball. And how you can just not market I wouldn't call it the most important event, because the most important event would be the playoffs and obviously the World Series, but how can you not market the most important event of the regular season? A thing that people are going to tune into when you have players like Bobby Witt Jr., who's a young rising star. I believe Gunnar Henderson also competed, but like, they had young rising stars competing in it. Like, this is an opportunity to market like this next generation of great baseball players. And there's like, oh no, we're good. We're good. We're only for baseball people. That's baseball's biggest issue. They are only for baseball people. And that's why less and less people are watching. It is. Okay, like, you have to make the sport available to everyone. And the home run derby would have been an excellent way for baseball to do that. And there's like, now we're good. Pass on that. You guys don't want to watch us anyway. No, we did. You just didn't want us to watch, which is frustrating. When we come back here in 5 minutes, I want to get into these quarterback rankings. I've got some brief thoughts on them. They're interesting. I don't agree with all of them, but for the most part, they're pretty decent. So when we come back here in about 5 minutes, I'm going to get into the NFL executives, coaches, and scouts quarterback rankings.
and gentlemen, it's time for...
It's the Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket, 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
What's going on? The Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Tickets. We're getting it going. We're having an absolute blast today. So much fun, because radio should be fun. Okay? We don't have enough fun in our lives. We need more fun, and hopefully this radio show is fun. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, I love basketball. I know you do too. I've talked about basketball literally all day today, which has been fine. You know, I've enjoyed it. I like talking hoops, but I said this yesterday. I love football. Okay. It runs through my veins. And because of that, I'm looking for any excuse to talk about football. And so yesterday, you know, I talked a little bit about the Colts and the lack of talent, right? The NFL executives, coaches, and scouts have been sent these surveys by ESPN where they are basically asked to rank their top 10 players at all these different positions, right? And so far, the Colts have only had 3 players on those lists: Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor, and DeForest Buckner. Those are the 3. And they released the quarterback list yesterday. And, man, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this thing and I'm just like, geez, man, I don't know. So, number one on the list is obviously Mahomes. Okay, like it's not a surprise. He's hands down the best quarterback in the league. People throwing him in the GOAT conversation, it's a bit much for me. It's just a bit much for me. But hey, you know, I digress. You are entitled to your opinion. But look, he's awesome. He's won 3 Super Bowls already, potentially going to three-peat. If he three-peats this year, then I'll be willing to have the conversation. But you know, because no one's ever done that in the history of the NFL. There's never been a team that's three-peated before. So no surprise whatsoever that he's number 1. He should be. Number 2 is Joe Burrow, which I don't like. Can't stand it. Joe Burrow is, first of all, he's not the second best quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Josh Allen, I would take before I took Joe Burrow. And I would also take Lamar Jackson before I took Joe Burrow. And part of that is a skill thing. I like the extra dimension that Lamar Jackson gives me. I like the extra dimension of the running that Josh Allen also gives me, right? Like, it's part of what makes those two guys great quarterbacks. And Josh Allen is ranked 3rd. Lamar Jackson is ranked 4th. And look, if you wanted to put Burrow in front of Lamar, that's fine. Like, I understand that. But Josh Allen, I don't get it whatsoever. This is the only guy who has really gone toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes consistently. Yes, I know. Joe Burrow beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship game 3 years ago now and then lost in the Super Bowl. But either way, like, Josh Allen has consistently gone toe-to-toe with this guy with a worse head coach and a worse defense. Like that to me is impressive. Okay, Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the NFL. He should be ranked in front of Joe Burrow, especially since Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. He's had one healthy year. That's it. And yes, I know that one healthy year, he went to the Super Bowl. But look, I knock, Colts fans knock Anthony Richardson for not being able to stay healthy. And you should, because the best ability is availability, right? It's a cliche. Everybody knows it. Every coach says it because it's true. And if you aren't available, then you shouldn't be ranked as the second best quarterback in the NFL. It shouldn't happen. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow should be flipped for 2 and 3. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. He's in the right spot. I thought that they would rank him lower because I do think that there are older executives in the league, older coaches, older scouts that just don't like the idea of a skinny quarterback that likes to run everywhere. But look, he's won 2 MVPs, made an AFC title game last year, was half expecting for him, you know, to be in the Super Bowl last year. I think a lot of people were expecting that. That Ravens team was really good. You know, they had some injuries, but Lamar Jackson is so good that I think that there's this notion that, or this idea that Lamar Jackson can overcome that. So they have him 4th, which is the right spot for him. 4 or 3 is probably where he should be. Number 5 surprised me, but it made me so happy. I saw it. I got the biggest grin on my face. I was like, this is the best. Number 5 is Matthew Stafford. I love this so much. Matthew Stafford he's awesome. He's everything that you should want your quarterback to be. He's big. He's strong. He's got a big arm. He's an aggressive thrower of the football. Like, he sits back and he looks at windows, and there's not a window Matthew Stafford can't throw through. That's what he thinks, and it's great, and it leads to him throwing no-look passes in the Super Bowl for victories. Okay, like the dude's awesome. Okay, he was great in Detroit. The issue was he played in Detroit, and they couldn't put a proper roster around him. Right. But then as soon as he goes to LA and he plays for the Rams, he's playing with Sean McVay, all of a sudden he looks amazing because he actually has good receivers and a good offensive line and a good head coach. He didn't have that support in Detroit, but he does now, and he's making the most of it. He's awesome. I love that he is ranked as the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. Number 6 is Justin Herbert, which I think is going to bother some people. I don't mind it. The dude's insanely talented. He is. Okay? Like, big, can run, like, he checks every box. He's accurate, big arm, all, like, everything that people want in a quarterback, Justin Herbert has. Like, the talent is through the roof. I loved him coming out of Oregon. I'll never forget my freshman year of college. I had an opportunity to go watch Oregon play Auburn in Dallas, like week 1 of the college football season. And so it's Auburn and Oregon. Bo Nix's first start as a college quarterback, taking on Justin Herbert in his last year. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but if you go to like a high school football game and there's like one guy who's going to like Alabama or whatever, like, you show up and you just immediately know who it is because he's like a foot taller than everyone. He's bigger. He's faster than everybody. Like, it's absolutely apparent that this dude is just different than everyone else on the field. That was Justin Herbert at a Power 5 college football setting. Like, he was bigger, faster, and stronger than everyone else on the field, and it was obvious just like watching the warm-ups. Right? Like, this dude is crazy talented. Now, the Chargers have struggled because Brandon Staley was a terrible head coach. He was. Okay, he was a halfway decent, a defensive coordinator. Let me back that up. He was a good defensive coordinator because coordinators don't get jobs as head coaches unless they're good coordinators. So he was a good coordinator, struggled as a head coach, and that's why Justin Herbert and the Chargers struggled. That's not the case anymore. They've got a legitimate head coach in the building. Coach Harbaugh is going to do just an awesome job in LA coaching these guys. They're going to be physical. They're going to run the ball. Justin Herbert is going to succeed because of that. Okay, in terms of players that I expect to move up the list next year, Justin Herbert would be the first guy. Number 7. And this one, I wish more people were in the YouTube chat for this because I'm going to say the name and it's going to get a reaction. I know it is, and I want people's reaction to it. So head over to YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket, join the chat, and give me your thoughts. Number 7. The 7th best quarterback in the NFL, according to NFL executives, coaches, and scouts, is CJ Stroud. Coming off of his rookie season. I've said it on the air. I thought he had a top 10 quarterback season last year. Watch out, Colts. Just watch out, because if CJ Stroud is this good, he's only going to get better because he's only going into year 2. The Colts are going to be in some trouble, man. Unless Anthony Richardson ends up being the guy that everyone thinks that he's going to be. Because, like, just looking at the division right now, CJ Stroud's a stud. Trevor Lawrence should be a stud. I think he will be. I'm not giving up hope on Trevor Lawrence yet. But CJ Stroud appears to be a stud. And when you're having to play against a great quarterback twice a year, look, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. Grew up a Dolphins fan. Grew up having to play against Tom Brady twice a year. It's a miserable experience. It's so miserable. It's the worst thing ever. When you're sitting back and you're looking at the schedule every year and you're like, geez, we got to play that guy twice. It's not a fun experience. And CJ Stroud could be that guy. Now, if you have a good quarterback, then you're fine. You're like, okay, whatever. Like, they have that guy, but we have our guy. We're going to be okay. So hopefully Anthony Richardson is this elite quarterback worthy of being the 4th overall pick, like everyone thinks that he is. Okay, but CJ Stroud coming in at 7th isn't surprising at all. And I think he's actually deserving of this spot just based off of the year that he had last year. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers, which kind of surprised me at first, but as I kind of thought, I was like, you know what? No, yeah, like, I think all those quarterbacks in front of him are better. He's 40 years old now. Him being 8th makes a lot of sense. So Aaron Rodgers coming in at number 8 for, the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, according to NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. Number 9, Jared Goff. This feels surprising, but I like it. The guy's got into a Super Bowl when he was playing with the Rams early in his career. He got the Lions to an NFC Championship game. They really could have won it. They could have been in the Super Bowl this year. The Lions, which would have been awesome, but they weren't. He commands a good offense. Now, obviously, his offensive coordinator being Brandon Johnson, that helps, obviously. But I'm not going to knock him just because he has good coaching. That's not his fault, right? So Jared Goff 9 makes sense. I like it. And number 10 is Dak Prescott. I don't know. Someone has to be 10. Should it be Dak Prescott? Probably not. I think I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Dak Prescott. But hey, that's fine. Whatever. So those are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL according to NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. Number 10, Dak. 9, Goff. 8, Aaron Rodgers. 7, C.J. Stroud. 6, Justin Herbert. 5, Matthew Stafford. 4, Lamar. 3, Josh Allen. 2, Joe Burrow. Number 1, obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Just interesting seeing how guys that, do this for a living in the NFL grade and rate all of these different quarterbacks. Now, I'm going to transition now back to basketball. I want to talk about the USA men's Olympic team. I want to talk about Tyrese Haliburton. So I said before I went on vacation that this was going to be a tough year for the USA men's Olympic team. Not because the team's bad. There's obviously a lot of talent on this team. I said it's going to be a tough year because there's just a lot of talent everywhere else. And yesterday, we got a little glimpse of that. Australia gave Team USA everything that it could handle yesterday. It did. Okay. Once again, this is the most talented Olympic basketball field we've ever had. And Australia has been good for the past decade. Okay. They've got several NBA players on their team. And they almost came back from a 20-point deficit yesterday to beat Team USA. They did. And look, Team USA looks good on paper, but they're a little older. Kevin Durant's 36, LeBron's 39, Steph Curry's 35. They have a lot of older players, and they played against a good, young, fast-paced Australia team yesterday that almost beat them. And look, this was a good warning for Team USA. If you've seen the 1992 Dream Team documentary, they lose to the college kids, and that was on purpose. Right. But the tower needs to be buzzed sometimes. You need to be reminded that you are human and that you can lose. And for this Team USA, they needed to be reminded that basketball is a global game now. Okay. There's a reason why an American hasn't won MVP since James Harden won it in 2018. Okay, there's a lot of talent out there, and Team USA was reminded of that yesterday. And they were going to lose until Tyrese Haliburton showed up. At the 5:06 mark, Australia cut USA's lead down to 6, and you could just feel the tension. Okay, and for 90 seconds, nobody scored. Then Tyrese Haliburton hit back-to-back threes from the left corner to put the game away for Team USA. Those were his only 6 points of the night. To be fair, they only played 18 minutes of the 40 available. It's early. Team USA still trying to figure out their rotations, but Haliburton has to be on the court more for Team USA. He does. Okay. He makes their offense so much easier. I can't really figure out why. He's a real point guard. I think that's evident. There are a lot of players in the NBA that can pass the ball at a high level. It feels, though, a lot of times that NBA players are looking to score. Then when they see an open pass, they make it. And that's just kind of how guys operate. And there's kind of this art form that's just not as common as it used to be in terms of seeing players do things purposefully to get their teammates a bucket, right? We'll see, the best players in the world do it. Jokic does it. LeBron James does it. Tyrese Haliburton does it. When Haliburton's on the floor with Team USA, I think it helps their offense because he's not looking for his own shot. He's looking for everyone else's shot. Right? Because let's be honest, when Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards and LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and these guys, when they have the ball, they're looking for their own shot, and they should be because they're all awesome scorers. And if they see an open teammate, they'll make the pass. They will. But when it comes to Tyrese Haliburton, he's doing the complete opposite. He is. He's looking for his teammates' shots. And if he's open, then he'll shoot. right? And it was this selfless mindset that got him to lead the NBA in assists this year. And that selfless mindset is what led the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, and when he's the best player on your team, like he is here in Indiana, that mindset can be frustrating. Okay, like I know you guys remember watching those playoff games. Like Tyrese, why are you only taking 7 shots, dude? Like you're our best player. Like we need you to be more aggressive. That's what Pacers fans were clamoring for. They're like, Haliburton, you're like a 40% career 3-point shooter, man. Like let's get him up. Let's go. Let's shoot the basketball. Let's go score some points, right? Because everyone wants their team's best offensive player to take more shots. You do. Here's the thing, though. Haliburton doesn't have to shoot the ball for Team USA to be good. Okay, they have a plethora of scores. They've got a pantry filled with guys that can go and get a bucket. They do. So what Team USA needs are players like Tyrese Haliburton, right? They need guys on the floor that can provide some playmaking, and he's a player that can really elevate this team. Okay, and when he's been on the floor in these 2 exhibition games, the first one against Canada, the second one yesterday against Australia, it's clear to see that he elevates the guys around him, right? And part of that is because of the passing. The other part of it is he doesn't have to have the ball to make an impact, right? Due to his ability to shoot the basketball. When he was drafted by the Sacramento Kings, he played alongside De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron Fox had the ball, Haliburton played off ball. And, so like the catch and shoot and things really developed, and he became a better player because of that. And that experience in Sacramento of playing off ball is helping him in Team USA because he cuts well and he makes good passes off of cuts. And it's fun to watch. Like he had one yesterday against Australia where he cut baseline, caught the ball, touch pass to Anthony Davis for a dunk. It was beautiful. It was beautiful basketball. And you could see it developing. And Haliburton saw it for everyone else. Like I feel like most guys, when they would have caught the ball in that spot, they would have taken a little floater. But he was like, no, we'll drop off pass for AD. Dunk. Let's go. Let's get back and play defense. So he can play off the ball. He's selfless. Like he's looking for his teammates, which both of those things are big for Team USA because it's a team filled with players used to having the ball and looking to score. And so having a guy like Haliburton on the floor, I think will be big for them going forward. Speaking of going forward, the Indiana Fever play tomorrow night against the Dallas Wings, and then their schedule gets tough again. It does. They're coming off this tough 5-game stretch. They're about to have another one, and I'm not worried, though. Like earlier in the year, I would have been just because, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell were still kind of trying to gel and play well together. They're playing better, and it's to a point where Caitlin Clark is one of the best players in the WNBA. And because of that, she deserves to be a part of something special. I'll tell you what that is when we come back here in about 4 minutes.
The best takes, stories, and entertainment. It's The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket. 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
What's going on? The Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy's Sports Tickets. Man, having a great day. Otter Creek, what's up, my man? Asking me if college football 25 is any good. Dude, I played for like 5 hours last night. So, yes, it's an absolute blast. Had an absolute grand old time playing the game last night. My wife was not happy with me this morning, but that's okay. It's fine. We're gonna bounce back. You know, we're gonna be better today. That's always the goal, right? And the Fever are gonna look to be better tomorrow. They are coming off of a 5-game stretch where they played against some of the best teams in the league. Okay, the Aces, the Liberty, the Mercury, the Lynx, right? Like some of the better teams that have solid holds on a playoff spot for this season. And they went 3-2 during this tougher stretch. And a large part of why they went 3-2 is because Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell all played well over the course of those 5 games. And the defense was better. That is a tip of the cap to Christy Sides. I know that there are people out there that don't believe that Christy Sides is a good coach. I have to disagree with you because the defense has gotten better. We've seen this team improve over the course of the season to a point where they've had the 3rd best record in the WNBA over the past month. Okay, like they are a good basketball team now, and part of that is Christy Sides, whether we want to admit that or not. And tomorrow night they get a bit of a break from playing against some of the best teams in the WNBA. Tomorrow night they go on the road to Dallas to take on the 5-19 Dallas Wings. That should be a win. That game is tomorrow night at 7:30. Then 4 out of their next 5 games come against some of the better teams in the league. They play the Mercury again. They play the Lynx again. So, they've got more tough games coming, but they've got a slight break in the action tomorrow night, which is why they need to win tomorrow night. Okay, these are the games that good teams win. That was one of the most frustrating things about watching the Pacers this year. You'd sit back and you'd watch them go to Milwaukee and win a game, and then they'd turn around and they'd lose to the Spurs or the Charlotte Hornets, some of the worst teams in the league. It's important to win these gimme games. Like the Las Vegas Aces, they don't lose to the Dallas Wings or the Washington Mystic like the Indiana Fever did last week. Good teams don't lose games to inferior opponents. It just doesn't happen, right? And so it's important that Fever need to win tomorrow night, right? They have a chance to potentially be 500 again and potentially have a winning record, which would be great, right? It's important to win. You want people to pay attention to you, continue to win games. That's so incredibly important. And they have another chance to do that tomorrow night. They need to do it. And look, let's be honest. If Caitlin Clark plays well against the Wings, then they should win. Okay. She's the best player on this team. Okay. She's an awesome passer. She can score the basketball. She does everything so well. Okay. So if she plays well tomorrow night, then they should win. And I'm expecting her to play well because she is, once again, I talked about this a bit yesterday, she has turned another corner. Okay. She's gotten better throughout the year. The assist numbers have gone up. She's now leading the league in assists. The shooting numbers are slowly getting better. The turnovers are slowly going down. She's improving, and it's fun to see. And I think it's plain for everyone to see how much better she's gotten. And I think it's to a point where everyone knows that she should have been selected to the Olympic team. She should have been. Okay? And I hope that everyone knows it at least. Because Diana Taurasi is currently injured. Right? She has a back and a leg thing that's caused her to miss some games. She didn't play against the Indiana Fever last week. She did return to action against the Connecticut Sun recently, but she played a lesser amount of minutes, and she didn't play very well. If she can't play in the Olympics, then Caitlin Clark better be her replacement. Okay? I know you guys remember what happened when they didn't put her on the team originally. People were super upset, and if they pass on her twice, people are going to be enraged. People are going to be really pissed off then. Okay, she's dominating the WNBA right now. And to a point where she has the Fever in a decent spot to make the playoffs. They're currently the 7 seed out of 8, right? So they've got a slight cushion there, right? They're a good team. And we live in a society, we live in a world where people are wrong all the time. Okay, I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife. Okay, she will tell you. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time. And men out there, if you think that you're right all the time, just ask your wife. She will tell you that you are not right all the time. Right? But here's the thing: like, there's nothing bad about being wrong. Like smart people are wrong all the time. Like people that went to Harvard and graduated with degrees, like those people are wrong all the time. Okay, guys like Elon Musk, like one of the better businessmen men in the world, he's wrong all the time. It happens. Okay, like even smart people get things wrong. Like it's not that big of a deal. What is a big deal, however, is when you're wrong and you're unwilling to admit it and you continue to make the same mistake. That is when issues start to arise. Okay? Don't be stubborn. Stubborn people are some of the worst people to hang out with. Stubborn people are awful to talk to. And stubborn people also make bad decisions because they're stuck in their ways and they refuse to change their mind. I hope that whoever picks the players for the USA Women's Olympic team is not stubborn. Because if she is, then she'll be making a mistake. Again, twice, and it's going to really upset some people. All of the arguments for Caitlin Clark to be on the Olympic team previously had to do with how big of a star she is. And she's still a huge star. She's the biggest star in the WNBA, right? Like this argument for Caitlin Clark to be on the Olympic team a few months ago was very much rooted in this idea that if you take Caitlin Clark to Paris, then more people will want to watch, which will grow the game, right? Which would be great, right? This is something that the WNBA has wanted for quite some time now. They've wanted for people to tune in and watch their game. And they finally have a player that people are interested in, right? And so this idea of like, hey, bring Caitlin Clark with you, let her play like 15 minutes, people will tune in and see everyone else and how great they are, right? Like that was the pitch for Caitlin Clark to be on the team. And that argument still rings true. The counter argument, however, was that she wasn't good enough. Okay? And at that moment in time, that was true. Okay? At that moment in time, if you had looked at me and said, hey, Jonathan, I get what you're saying because I was very much in favor of Caitlin Clark being on the USA Women's Olympic team. If you say, hey, Jonathan, she's not good enough, I'd be like, you know what? I don't like it, but fair point. Okay? Fair point. And look, let's be honest. Caitlin Clark got off to a bad start this year. She did. She got off to a rough start this year. Okay? She wasn't one of the best players in the WNBA to start this season. She wasn't. But as of today, as of right now, she is 14th in points per game, 19th in rebounds per game, 9th in steals per game, 14th in blocks per game, and she leads the WNBA in assists per game. She's the best playmaker in the WNBA. Do not double team her, because if you do, she's going to find the open player. She just is, and then it's going to lead to a bucket. It's usually a Kelsey Mitchell 3 or an Aaliyah Boston layup. Okay? I don't know about you, but someone who's top 15 in like every major statistical category except for rebounding, that to me sounds like one of the best players in the world. Okay, that's not what it sounds like. That's what it is, just to put it bluntly. Caitlin Clark, as of today, is one of the best players in the WNBA. And if Diana Taurasi is hurt and can't play in the Olympics, then Caitlin Clark should be her replacement. No questions asked. No questions asked. Okay? She's the biggest brand in the sport right now. And more importantly, she's one of the best players in the WNBA. Right? So now, she not only deserves to be on the team based on her reputation, based on the eyes that she will attract to this, USA Women's Olympic team, but she also deserves to be on the team based on how good of a player she is. Like, she's going to win Rookie of the Year, and it's not going to be close. Okay? She's really turned a corner. As of today, she's one of the best players in the league, and because of that, if Diana Taurasi cannot play in the Olympics, then Caitlin Clark should fill her spot. More basketball going on for the Indiana teams today. The Indiana Pacers Summer League team playing in today against the Phoenix Suns at 4 o'clock. Your Indiana Pacers Summer League team is fun. I'm excited. I like watching them. Okay. And there are important pieces for the Pacers playing on this Summer League team. Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd, they're both playing. I really like watching both of them play. They bring it defensively. Okay. Like they're always in a stance. The hands are always active. They're in passing lanes. It's fun to watch. It's good, fun, engaging defense. And look, these Summer League games, they can be ugly for stretches, but it's just fun watching dudes play hard. It's just like all those guys are fighting for their NBA lives to some extent. And it's so much fun to watch those guys just go out there and play hard. It is. And so I've really enjoyed my time watching the Summer League, especially watching Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd and the way that they defend. Offensively, like they figure out ways to impact the game in their own ways. Ben Shepherd obviously does it through movement, running off screens, setting off screens, and then looking for catch and shoot opportunities. Walker does it through playmaking and scoring, right? Like they've put the ball in his hands a lot in these games, which has been kind of interesting. But it's pretty obvious that like he's got good vision. He has some good offensive feel. And because of that, like I'm not worried about Jarris Walker on offense, especially since, let's be honest, we all know the ball is going to be in Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Haliburton's hands more than anyone else. And so because of that, I want to continue to see Jarris Walker defend at a high level. Okay, once again, the offensive feel is there. You can tell he's got a pretty good foundation. He can shoot the ball. He can put it on the floor. He passes the ball well. Okay, like he takes mostly good shots. The way for him to get on the floor, though, for the Pacers next year is to defend, right, and make those open shots. Okay, like that is how he gets onto the floor next year because that's what the Pacers need, right? There's really no other way to put it. Like they need a big winged guy that can defend. That's what they needed. So far, only through 2 games, to be fair. Okay, so it's not a huge sample size. He looks like he can be that big wing defender that the Pacers so desperately need, right? And I'm going to continue to watch the rest of the Summer League. I hope that Jarris Walker continues to play and that he continues to play well. Like Khalil Ware for the Miami Heat. He's played well in the Summer League game so far. Zach Edey played in the California Classic, hasn't played at all in Vegas. I hope that changes because Zach Edey's, it's fun to watch him play against other NBA-type players. So the Summer League's fun. I'm having a blast watching it. I'm also having a blast playing the new college football 2025 game. So much fun. It's an incredible amount of fun. To a point where I was sitting down, I was playing the game yesterday. I was like, how do I incorporate this into Top 10 Tuesday? Right? Because I do think this is a big story. It's something that a lot of people are excited about. Because like, how do I get people, or like how do I incorporate video games into the show today? So my Top 10 Tuesday highlights the 10 most unstoppable sports video game characters of all time. That is coming your way here in about 4 minutes.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Unadulterated sports talk with unfiltered takes. It's the real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Tickets, 1430 AM and 99.5 HD2.
The real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy's Sports Ticket. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. No matter how you're tuning in, maybe you've been listening on the Indy Sports Ticket app, which you can get wherever you download your apps, the Google Play Store, the App Store, wherever. You can go, you can download it there, you can stream the show. Maybe you've been watching on Twitter. Had some issues running it from the Tickets account. Follow us there at Ticket1430. So we've been running it from my personal account at _ Jonathan Smith. Or maybe you've been watching on the best platform, which is YouTube. Head over there, Indy Sports Ticket, subscribe, watch us there live. It's a great time. Join the chat. Give me your thoughts, because I like seeing your guys' thoughts. I like to know when I'm out of line. I like to know when what I'm saying makes sense versus when it doesn't. So head over there, subscribe, join the live stream, comment, and give me your thoughts. Now, moving into Top 10 Tuesday, one of the best segments of the week. In honor of the new college football video game coming out yesterday, I decided to do the Top 10 Tuesday most unstoppable sports video game characters. So look, there are 3 guys on this list that have to be on there. Okay, like if you were to make your own top 10 list, I'd be looking for 3 names. And if you didn't have them on there, then your list, invalid. Invalid. And number 1 on that list is Bo Jackson from Tecmo Super Bowl. Untouchable, unstoppable, an absolute juggernaut. Okay, just like he was in real life. The best athlete ever, dare I say, right? And look, his video game character just reached epic and just godly status. Okay, there is no other video game character that has dominated games the way that Bo Jackson did in Tecmo Super Bowl. Okay, he could literally run circles around defenders. And I mean, he was insane. He was incredible. He ran over everybody. You couldn't tackle him. Okay. And you loved playing with him. You hated playing against him. And yeah, I mean, like, you can go find videos of it on YouTube. And that's kind of what I found myself doing last time. I'm sitting down and I'm prepping for this and I'm reading through other people's lists. I'm texting people and I'm going on YouTube and I'm like looking these guys up. Yeah, Bo Jackson, Tecmo Super Bowl clips are nothing but insane. Number 2 on the list, Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Couldn't beat him. No one did. I'm convinced. Okay, like, very few people actually saw Mike Tyson hit the canvas. Very few people did. And let's be honest. If you were talking to your buddy and they called you and like, hey man, I just beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I just knocked out Mike Tyson. You would be like, nah, bro. No, you didn't. You don't lie to me, right? That's what I would say, at least. Okay? And yeah, like, you didn't believe someone whenever they said that they did. Like, Otter Creek just commented that he beat it several times as a kid. I don't believe you. I'm sorry. Okay? Like, the game was hard. And to a point where, like, it's still talked about today. Like, I'm 24 years old talking about this game because Mike Tyson was that hard to beat in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Next on the list, Michael Vick, Madden 2004. Okay, that one specifically, okay, like, he was insane. Like, you could drop back 50 yards and still scramble your way into the end zone. I'm like, he was incredible. Or if you didn't want to scramble, you could drop back 50 yards and then just throw like an 80-yard rocket. Okay? Like, he was just incredible. Okay? Basically, if you're playing with Michael Vick and Madden 04, anything was possible. Okay? Like, these are the 3 guys that you have to have on your list. Bo Jackson from Tecmo Super Bowl, Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and Michael Vick from Madden 2004. Okay? Like, he was incredible. He was simply just unstoppable to a point where Madden 04 was like the first football game I ever truly played. And we would argue, me and my brother would, and we'd be like, you were not allowed to play as the Atlanta Falcons. 4-year-old me and my at the time 5-year-old brother, just like, no, you can't play with Michael Vick because he's a pain in the butt. Okay? And I'm sure many other people had that exact same argument. From here on out, I'm pretty flexible with my list. If you want to sub someone in or out, cool, whatever. But the 3 guys that I just mentioned, Bo Jackson, Michael Vick, and Mike Tyson, all 3 have to be on this list. Next, Lawrence Taylor from Tecmo Bowl. Now, as I continue my way through this list, you will notice something. You will notice that Lawrence Taylor is the only defensive player I have on my list. And let's be honest, when we play video games, specifically football games, no one's excited to play defense. Okay, like I didn't get, college football 25 yesterday. Like, oh man, can't wait to run some cover 2 and control the safety. No, I was like, let me play offense. Let me throw the ball all over the field and let me have a blast. Right? Like we want to play offense. And Lawrence Taylor is one of the few defenders ever in the history of video games to steal the spotlight. Okay, now it's important to have like good, linebackers and defensive linemen and things to like win games, right? But rarely do they create highlight reels. And that's why Lawrence Taylor's Tecmo Bowl character makes the list and is so special. He wreaked havoc on offenses. And he was really the only player capable of tackling guys like Walter Payton or Bo Jackson. Okay, the dude just flew all over the field, chased down players regardless of their speed. And yeah, and that's also why he's the real LT. I mean, the dude is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Next on the list, Randy Moss from NFL 2K3. Okay, it's tough to kind of distinguish who the more dominant player was, real life Randy Moss or NFL 2K Randy Moss. Okay, both were virtual locks to reel in any deep pass. But considering the virtual Randy Moss could haul in like 6 every game, he gets the edge. Okay, he was the cover athlete on NFL 2K3, and something I've noticed is that whenever like the cover athlete for any sports game, their stats are always boosted like just like a little bit. And Randy Moss, he didn't need that. He didn't need it. He was already incredible. Okay, so Randy Moss, NFL 2K3. Next one on the best basketball video game of all time, Scottie Pippen, NBA Jam, the one that came out in 1993. Okay, during this time period, Michael Jordan was playing baseball in Double-A for the White Sox. Okay, that's what he was doing. And because of that, Scottie Pippen was given the opportunity to be the guy in Chicago, ensure that he didn't need Michael Jordan. As we all learned later, he did need Michael Jordan, right? So while he failed to win a title on his own, he secured a different title of sorts. The best player in NBA Jam. Okay, considering that NBA Jam is, in my opinion, it is the best basketball game of all time. That's quite the title. Okay, like Pippen, unstoppable with the ball in his hands. Just like imagine if Michael Jordan had been in the game as well. That would have been one of the best duos in video game history, right? Because he would have been pretty awesome as well. I love NBA Jam. They remaster it every so many years. I remember playing 2-on-2, against whoever. Me and my dad would oftentimes play against my brother and his friend. My dad and I, we only lost once. Okay. It was a blast. We had one game where we were playing against this kid, and we we spent the whole game just repeatedly shoving over my brother's friend's character repeatedly. Like he stood up for like maybe 11 seconds. It was so funny. But anyway, next on my list, Peyton Manning in just any Madden game. Okay. Like I love EA Sports and Madden. Like they do their best to make things feel real. But if there's one thing that they could just ignore, it's Peyton Manning's voice. But whatever. Everybody has played against Peyton Manning in these games at one point or another. And like you see him run out on the field and you're just like, geez, man. Like I know what he's going to do. He's just going to sit in the pocket and throw darts all over the field. It doesn't matter what defense you run. He's throwing darts to Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison and Dallas Clark, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So Peyton Manning in just literally any Madden game has to be on this list. Adrian Peterson, NCAA football, 2007. Absolute workhorse. Okay, could run by guys, run over guys, catch the ball out of the backfield. Like there's a reason why Adrian Peterson was, a high draft pick coming out of Oklahoma. Like he was awesome in that 2007 game. Reggie Bush in NCAA football 2006 is in a pretty similar category. He would just run by everyone, but Peterson with the extra power, I had to give him the nod to make this list. I don't know how many people like consistently play baseball video games. So I do have 2 guys on here. I apologize if you haven't played these games. Ricky Henderson from RBI Baseball 4. There is one thing that is always certain when you play any sort of sports video game. Speed kills. Okay? And in RBI Baseball 4, Ricky Henderson had speed, power, and he consistently put the bat on the ball. It's like playing against real life Ricky Henderson, where the dude could go yard if you left the fastball over the middle, but if you didn't, he was just going to slap it the other way, right? And if he put it on the ground, he was probably going to beat it out. Like that's who Ricky Henderson was in real life and in RBI Baseball 4. Okay, if Ricky Henderson put the ball in play in that game, he was probably going to get on first base. And if he got on first base, then just like in real life, he was probably going to steal second base. And just like in real life, if he got on second base, he was probably going to steal third base. Okay, like he was just incredible in RBI Baseball 4. The last guy on my list here, Reggie Jackson of the original RBI Baseball. Reggie Jackson spent the majority of his professional career, hitting homers and doubles in every baseball park across the country. And that power followed him into the world of RBI baseball, where Mr. October just hit an incredible amount of home runs, right? Even though the game was released later on in his career, it didn't matter, right? It was like an aging Reggie Jackson, but they gave him prime Reggie Jackson numbers, right? This is when he was playing with the California Angels. Like, he was the best player in the game. He had homers all the time, and his skills were only rivaled by guys like John Dowd and Ken Griffey Jr. So that is my top 10 Tuesday today. The 10 most dominant, best, unstoppable sports video game characters ever. The 3 that you have to have: Michael Vick in Madden 2004, Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Bo Jackson from Tecmo Super Bowl. The rest of my list, I'm pretty flexible on. If you wanted to trade different guys out, I wouldn't push back on it. Lawrence Taylor in Tecmo Bowl, Randy Moss, NFL 2K3, Scottie Pippen, NBA Jam, Peyton Manning in literally any Madden game, because he was just unstoppable to a point where it was frustrating, especially since, my brother, huge Colts fan, always played as the Colts, and I'm playing as the Dolphins, running, Dante Culpepper out to play quarterback. And it was just, it wasn't the same. Next on the list, Adrian Peterson from NCAA Football 2007. And then wrapping it up, Ricky Henderson, RBI Baseball 4, and Reggie Jackson from RBI Baseball. That's going to do it for the Real Jonathan Smith Show today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to tune in, listen. Head over to YouTube, subscribe, Indies Sports Ticket. Follow us on Twitter at Ticket1430. You can follow me on there as well at __ Jonathan Smith if you just want to see what nonsense I put out on Twitter, because a lot of times, like, it is nonsense. I won't even lie to you. So head over to Twitter, follow me there. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back again tomorrow from 10 to noon. Dan Dockich is off today, but he will be back tomorrow. The Jim Rome Show coming your way here in about 5 minutes.